Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to podcast number 11, episode number 11 of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. I am your host, Kevin McKella. Thank you so much for listening and watching once again. And today on the episode, I am going to get into a concept that is fairly new to me, actually, and I kind of want to dive into this a little bit with you and explain why I'm doing this and what this has to do with my rituals. So let's start on the tangible. My PM, by the way, something I haven't in 10, 11 episodes, I haven't actually talked about. When you actually create a ritual design and you have routines strategically placed throughout your day, during inflection points throughout your day to be more productive, get more done, be happy, be the best version of yourself. Either way, these routines will always change. I can promise you that. You will always update these routines. You will always optimize them in different ways, add things, subtract things. Either way, the reason I say this is because this wasn't always like this. So now let's, like I said, get into the nitty gritty. The very last piece of my PM routine, the thing that I do, the sequence of events that I do right before I go to bed, the very last thing I do is last two things I do is make a cup of tea with some lemon, and sometimes I'll throw some turmeric in there. And then I go sit on the couch and hang out with my wife, Ashley. And I'll just kind of jump into whatever show she's watching. Usually some type of TV that I really don't enjoy. It is what it is. It's okay. I'd rather, spend some time with her. Now, why do I do that? And why is that a specific part of my ritual? The reason is because I never used to do that. And I would work up until the second I had to go to bed, and probably even way later than that, and just go to bed, right? And a lot of times I realized that, I was living with my wife or even girlfriend at the time, and I feel like I saw her every day, but we never saw each other, right? It was like this thing, it was like, oh, what's going on? I feel like we haven't, been connecting at all. Now, a half an hour sitting on the couch, drinking some tea and watching some Andy Cohen or whatever is not a deep connection, right? All right, we're going to get back into that. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to discuss what kind of gave me the spark to actually go down this road with you and talk about this with you. I was watching a video. Actually, I probably was listening to a video because I listen to YouTube videos. I know that's weird, but I listen to YouTube videos while I'm driving around. So I was listening to something on from the Rap Radar podcast, which I actually know nothing about it. I just saw the video and then I learned about the podcast. They interviewed Will Smith. And man, Will Smith is always a very inspirational type of figure for me. And I mean, think about it. For who was he not, right? He's really, really funny. He's very motivating. He's very action oriented. Family man. He's got it going on, right? He did something right. Okay, so there's this video, and I'm going to actually play a clip of it, just a small clip of it. Again, if you want to listen to the whole thing, it's like an hour plus long on the Rap Radar podcast. And he talks about this amazing, amazing concept that it just blew me away. And it has to do with peace versus pleasure. All right, so we're going to play this right now for you.
So Ruby turns to Jada, and she said, how long you known him? And Jada said, at the time it was 17 years. She said, I've known him for 17 years. Ruby said, 17 years? Shit, you don't even know him yet.
Wow.
Right? She said, just relax. And that was her whole advice. She's like, you don't even know him yet. And it was like the idea that 17 years, you don't even know him yet. And that is so deeply true. It's like, as much as marriage is a relationship commitment, it really is a singular commitment to yourself that you are going to use your marriage to develop yourself. Right? Marriage demands that you be the best version of you, or it ain't gonna work. And it feels so good to get to that space where you're not complaining and worrying and demanding that a person be a certain thing to sort of satiate your ego deficiencies, you know? You're not demanding that somebody be a certain thing so you feel better about yourself, you know? And we've sort of come into this really beautiful place. She said a couple of months ago, she said, you know what? People think love is red. It's not, it's blue. It's like water. It's not like fire, right? And I was like, it's just such a deep concept, and you know, coming into that space, this I've never been happier, and I hate using the word happy because it really doesn't describe what I am. Right? It's like happiness is peace. It's not pleasure. Right? And everybody thinks happiness is trying to get as much pleasure as you can get. There is nothing more agitating to your mind than extreme pleasure. Right. Right? It's like peace. And it's like just coming to
that is like
beautiful state.
I mean, that's just super, super powerful. I don't even know where to start. I mean, you know, 17 years, 17 years and you don't even know your spouse yet. You know, I get the concept. You know, I think, you know, Ashley and I have been to, at the time it's recording, 2019, we've been together for 10 years, married for 2. You know, and I feel like I got a good idea of what she's about, but I understand, like, the commitment to your entire life to somebody is crazy. Right? I mean, not for me, that's why I did it. But what I find really interesting is how he started going down this road of the fact that marriage is this complete commitment to yourself to be the best version of yourself. I mean, yeah, that's it. Which then brings me to this point of, okay, so, and that's why a lot of times, like, I try to operate from this place, and I think there's a book, I got to ask my buddy my buddy Chris, he might know this. I think it's a book, but it's this concept of 100% on you. 100% on you, that you, like, the relationship, and meaning if you come at the relationship as if you are 100% in control of the outcome, that's the best place to come at it from, considering that you have to be the best version of yourself. Now, what I mean by that is, no, if your spouse is constantly cheating on you and, you know, you're telling yourself that that's your fault and yada, yada, like, no, that's specifically not going to work. We understand that, but it's a concept. It's an idea that, you know, I can do 100% of what I'm capable of doing. And that includes what meaning you give things. This is one of the most important things of my life, is mastering the meaning that you associate things. Well, let's get down to a really, really nitty-gritty detail. I have this really big pet peeve surrounding the garbage. And it all has to do with a couple things. Like, for instance, if Ashley folds the pizza box, if we have pizza, right, which lately has been really good. We've had very, very little pizza, which is great. If she folds the pizza box and, like, just, like, folds it, like, once and then, like, stuffs it in the garbage, and and like it takes up the entire bag where you really can't like fit anything else in the garbage can anymore. That drives me insane. Like for me, I'm sitting there, I'm folding it at least four, maybe 5 times, making it as small as possible, putting it in the, so now we can, you know what I mean? Like you can, well, you know, it drives me up a wall. You know, and at the same time, like if the garbage is full, and then like I watch her place like one more item like on top of this wonderful mound of garbage that's collected, and I'm like, you gonna take out the bag, right? Or you're just gonna let somebody else do that? Who's gonna do? Anyway, so you catch my drift. It's all these pet peeves of mine. Now I can say that is 100% her fault. She's doing that, and she needs to change that, right? And the same thing kind of Will was talking about, right? This constant urge to try and make somebody fit your ego and fit the thing that you need them to fit in, right? And that is just not going to work. So if I'm doing right by myself, if I'm taking care of my body, taking care of my mind, taking care of my emotional state. Oh, when do I do all that? Oh, I don't know, maybe my rituals, right? Another topic for another day, right? But see my drift? So, okay, if I'm in a really good state, I can choose to associate a meaning to this. I could say, well, one, either she is not thinking of anybody but herself and she's making me do this, or I could say, wow, I have an opportunity here to take out the garbage and save her from doing something that, you know, that's annoying, right? Like I get to like help her out. Interesting, right? Really, really interesting. And immediately, if you're saying to that, yo, man, that's what are you talking about? Like that's stupid. Like what that you got to put her in her place. You know, like insane type of language I've heard from some people. Like, okay, put her in her place, or tell her to do certain things. You mean like all the things that like she helps me with, right? Like the other day when she was like helping outside while I was like splitting wood, she was, you know, gathering all the twigs and branches from and bagging them. Like you mean all the things that she helps me with? I'm ranting a little bit, but it's really, really important that for anybody who is in a relationship, who is in a marriage, who is even just dating somebody, I think this concept that Will goes into is so interesting. Being the best version of yourself for the relationship, for the other person, is just amazing, because all this little stupid stuff, right, becomes just null and void. And now here's where it comes to this really final point where I just absolutely love that he made. Peace versus pleasure, right? Because if you're trying to fight and get pleasure out of everything and find the pleasure in the relationship, oh, you know, I'm really happy that, you know, she listened to me and she folded that pizza box up, right? If you're going at that your entire life, and every time that she doesn't, or he doesn't do X, Y, and Z that you need him to do so you can gain pleasure, right? Then you're in for a rude awakening. But like he said, and like I guess his therapist said, you know, his marriage counselor, Ruby, or I don't know who, but like they said, like love is not red, it's blue. It's like blue, like the water, right? It kind of just is. And once you put yourself in that place of, you know, just total stillness, and this place where you're just at peace with yourself and with the love you share with that other person, that makes everything like just so much easier. and just so much, it gives you so much more mental RAM to just think and be and produce. So let's go back all the way up to the top of the mountain here. Why have I incorporated this little half an hour of, you know, couch time with Ashley? It is not to check the box off of I've spent quality time with my wife, right? It is not to engage in deep, meaningful conversation. It is not to watch Andy Cohen. It's none of that. It's because I know what is the most important thing in my life, and that's Ash. And I want to end my day, every single day, and I want to go to bed thinking of the best thing in my life, which is her, right? And, it's for nothing else but to just be at peace with us and myself and our relationship. So what's really cool is that even if we have a pretty big fight about something stupid, like, I don't know, a pizza box, I'll come upstairs. We'll have some away time, if you will, and we'll be able to kind of let it go and let it simmer, let it marinate a little bit, right? And when I come downstairs and kind of just hang out, she knows it's part of my routine, so it may not get resolved. And by the way, sometimes I don't do it. It's not 100%. These rituals are not 100%. I hope you know that by now. But, usually 99% of the time, that's the point where we kind of look at each other and we get back into that place of peace. And we just say, it was dumb. If there's any sorries that need to be said, they're said then. And it's just so fascinating to me that, he went on to this route and it really hit me in such a powerful way that I didn't even realize what I was doing in my PM ritual. Like, I just was going down to hang out with my lady, like that's it. And I just love being with her. I love spending time with her. She's my wife, of course. And it's funny because I think that's why we have such a good relationship, is that we're beginning to find that space of peace. She may never fold that pizza box the way I want her to, ever. I am totally okay with that. It gives me the opportunity to take the garbage out. That's it. It's the meaning we give things and what that makes us, what that puts us in, what type of position we want to be in, we choose to be in. Super, super powerful. So, this episode was an interesting one, and I'm excited to hear your comments on it. I would love to hear your comments on it. If you want more of these type of deep, explorations, if you will, I will try my best. If you want more practical, tactical type of, advice and teachings, we can do that as well. But I want to hear from you. So if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast place to listen to, please leave me a review. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment and like it, and of course subscribe to the channel. And I hope that maybe this episode was able to make you think in a little bit of a different way, because hearing my man Will Smith, he always makes me think in a very different way each time. And each time I hear him, ranting about something positive, and he just puts things into a very interesting perspective. And I want to be able to, share not only my perspectives, but great people like him and other incredibly successful people who are able to look at life in a way that maybe we can't. So I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.